Good morning, YouTube. It's Rochelle Tannen. It's May 27th, 2022. It's 2:55 a.m. Guys, I'm a little bit of a night owl. I'm also a day person, but some of my best thinking comes in the middle of the night. I wanted to jump on and talk quickly about these rent increases and the elderly across this country right now. Let me start by saying I have no skin in the game with the generation, my parents' generation anymore. My mom died at 37 back in 97. My dad just passed at 62 in 2020. So I really have no skin in the game with a lot of these elderly people. And what I mean, I have no obligation to any grandparents, parents, or anything like that. So in retrospect, I don't really have to care, because a lot of these are your parents, grandparents, and your family, not mine. But I do care. There's days I wish I didn't care, but I do. Because you judge a society on how well they treat their elderly. And this country has become absolutely piss poor in the way they treat their elderly. Hell, people in their 40s and 30s don't even want to get older. It's almost like it's a crime against nature to get older these days. And it's sickening. I watched one story I've been following out of St. Louis. Shout out to the Lou. I can't wait to make it out there just to eat barbecue. But there was an old black lady who had to easily be in her 70s or 80s, stage 4 cancer, getting put out by the St. Louis Housing Authority. This woman is in hospice, and for those of you that don't know what hospice is, it's the last stage before death. It's the final stage doctors say to you, well, we can't do anything else but make you comfortable. This woman had to call the local news and shout out to the brother who helped her out in order not to be evicted out of her home while she's dying. I see another story down there in Florida, ABC, I believe 2, ABC 2. I don't know what part of Florida, but Florida, an elderly white couple, their rent just went up to where they can't afford it. These people are in their 70s and 80s. And as I said in one of my other videos, and I'll say this quite a bit, some issues are black and white, but some things are about young and old. And these rents going up across the country, I really don't care if it's younger Americans. I could care fucking less. I'll get into that in a minute. But these older Americans that worked, these World War II veterans, these women that manned these factories during these wars and raised their children, went into the workforce when we were little girls to pave the way for us. Hell yeah, they deserve better than this. I don't like the administration we have in Washington right now, because they're acting like none of this shit's going on. Wall Street's buying this country, the single family homes, up in chunks right now, where millennials can't even get their first home. And we got older people about to be evicted in their golden years, and no one on the state level or the federal level stepping in. And then taking the government out of it, a lot of you younger Americans aren't stepping in. These are your parents, your grandparents, your community. You should be mad about this, because we're getting older. And if they're treating the old like this right now, imagine what they're going to do to people born in 1970, 1975, 80, on and on, when we, Lord willing, reach our golden years. This is a travesty, and people should be pissed. I told a story on my channel, and it's a true story. I helped an older white woman who was in her 80s living at the Philadelphia airport. It's disgraceful. Now, I don't like baby mamas. I will take up for women if it's a woman's issue, a black woman's issue, if you're a baby mama or not. But I don't like baby mamas. I never liked baby mamas. I never liked the concept. I'm watching these other news stories where they're putting up new community plans and all this shit in the subsidized housing for these whores. No, what the country needs to do is put these bitches out of subsidized housing and move these old people in. If you have been in the projects, and some of you hoes have been from state to state in the projects for a couple generations now, not 10, 20 years, your mother was in the project, your mother's in the project, you're in the projects and raising your kids in the project. Those resources could be better used for these elderly people getting put out at this point in history. If you don't have anywhere to go with your raggedy bastard kids, call their father. That couple down in Florida. They were in their 70s, married for 30, 40, 50 years, paid their taxes, paid their dues, raised their children. The lady out in St. Louis, I'm pretty sure was a widower because she was close to 80. Those black women were class act back in those days. So I know she's a widow, maybe 2 times. I know she's a widow. She was a good, clean girl. But you hoes taking up subsidized housing, I'm so ready for you to be put out. I'm ready for elderly and working families to take some of these subsidized housing. I don't feel sorry for none of these single mothers. I don't even like using the term single mothers because divorcees and widows can be single mothers. I like the term baby mama because that's what the fuck you are. I was watching another story in Atlanta where some white woman started a program for mainly black single mothers to curb the violence and all this other bullshit that's not going to work. Only thing that's going to curb the violence in the black community is a family unit. And that's almost destroyed courtesy of you niggas. Because it's hard to have a 2-parent household when most people my age or around my age, not only are you baby mama, baby daddy, you're a baby mama, baby daddy 2, 3, 4, 5 times over with different people. Those are your problems. But just because you're irresponsible don't mean you should be able to sit in public housing for fucking decades and raise your kids, and then your daughters raise their kids in public housing. Meanwhile, we got old people here in Philadelphia living in the fucking airport. We got veterans on the street from the Vietnam War, the first war with Iraq back in the early 90s. I don't care if these men are on drugs or not. They shouldn't be on the street at all. At all. I don't care what they do. Because a lot of those veterans, they self-medicate. They shouldn't be on the street either. But you, like the young woman down in Atlanta, her name was fucking Diamond. Black people get on my goddamn nerves. Her name was fucking Diamond. What else is she gonna be besides a stripper and a baby mom? No, you don't deserve public housing. Go call the father of these kids. I'm getting sick of having to support these women, meanwhile watching old people be homeless. Hell, I've been homeless. It didn't work out because the shelter system here in Philadelphia is ran by old crackheads for young crackheads and baby mamas. I was in a shelter and I'm watching these hoes talking about all the men that want them. They're taking selfies, they're twerking, doing all this, and they will look at me and say, Rochelle, well, you gotta be happy and you cannot. I'm in a fucking shelter and I work. What's there to be happy about? And I ended up leaving the shelter. I went in shelter twice here in Philadelphia because I don't have a mother. I don't have family here anymore. So I had to do what I had to do. And neither time lasted more than 30 days. Because for one, when the city came in to inspect those places, a lot of times they thought I worked there. And that didn't go over well with the staff. For two, a lot of those women couldn't figure out why a person like me was in a shelter. But there's all kind of people that have problems with housing because housing is expensive. And I can take being homeless in my 30s. That's being an adult. Things happen in life. That's part of being an adult, figuring out how to get through life. Hopefully unscathed. But even if you do get scathed, that's part of being an adult. I don't mind that. That's a part of my story, part of my journey, as you guys like to say. But what I do mind is 80-year-olds and 80-year-olds on hospice getting put the fuck out of a housing authority. Any city in this country. I have a big fucking problem with that. Because here in Philadelphia, back home, down south, I've met bitches that have been in projects their whole lives. And their mothers were in the projects too. And these women keep getting funded. These women keep getting funded to keep ruining black children in the black community. But old people are sleeping at the airport. I don't understand that. Maybe you guys can make me understand that. And again, I know we live in a forever young culture, and I mean this with every stitch of my being. I don't want to be younger than what I am. I had my times in my 20s and 30s. Lord willing, I'll have another good 40, 50 years. Maybe I'll make it to 90, Lord willing. But by then, I'll be ready to check out, man. I don't think I could do a Betty White and be here 99 years. But you can tell a society how good it is by the way they treat their old, not baby mamas. There's no old sayings for baby mamas. These women need to be put the fuck out. And since no one's controlling the rents across the country in these states, in certain states, rents get jacked up 50% and better. I'd rather see, and this, I don't care how callous it sounds, I'd rather see Diamond, with her 4 kids on the street, yes, than to see that elderly couple down there in Florida on the street. Absolutely. Because that elderly couple, I know that old man was a veteran. He helped fight for my rights, white, black, or whatever. And they paid their dues. Diamond, I don't care about you and your kids. Because it seems like with a lot of these baby mamas, y'all just don't learn lessons. You'll have one kid, can't afford it. They have 3 or 4 more kids and can't afford them either. And it's always everybody else's fault. And you never have to call the father to help pay for housing. The fathers never have to pay for nothing. These men, I've heard women say, well, you can't make a man do what he don't want to do. Bullshit. And if you're with that kind of man, maybe you should consider contraceptive or abortions, which a lot of you hoes have abortions anyway, with kids or without. But if you know you can't afford to rear this person and raise this person, why are you spitting them out like it's going out of style? But you get to. But soon things are changing. I'm trying to warn a lot of you people that watch me. You know, like I know, shit's changing. A lot of you hoes are going to get put out because we're getting down to resources. And these old people, rightfully so, have every right to be housed in their golden years. Every right. This shouldn't even be a discussion. But you hoes, y'all need to be put the fuck out. You, your kids, Pookie, Ray, all of them that's living up in them projects off your Section 8 voucher, y'all need to get the fuck out. Because it's not just Florida, it's not just St. Louis, it's here in Philadelphia, it's in New England, it's down south. How much longer you hoes need in this public housing? That's my question. And I don't have a problem with public housing particularly. I have a problem with the people who get housed. That get in these, even if they build new developments, they get in these houses and they let their kids run amok. They ruin them in a span of 5 or 10 years, where this could be going to veterans or elderly people. Or how about this? Because I know this is a far-fetched idea for our government. Young married couples. I know they need help with housing. I'd rather my tax dollars go to a young woman who has a kid or 2, and I've met this too, especially if they're black, that have a kid or 2 and a husband. I have no problem paying taxes for them to have housing. None. Because, yeah, it's easier with a man, or it's supposed to be, but men have hard times too. Some of these men out here would love some subsidized housing for their families. But no, Diamond, and I hate that name. You niggas are such assholes, man. I hate that goddamn name. Because if you ever see The Players Club, which, that's one of my hood movies. That's one of my go-tos. The main character's name was Diana, not Diamond. Dollar Bill gave her that name. And Dollar Bill was a fucking lowlife. Her name wasn't Diamond, it was Diana. The character's name's Diana, not Diamond. So all you women and men who named your daughters Diamond, you named them after a stripper. So I guess you didn't have very high expectations for your daughters. But that was on my mind. Shout out to St. Louis, that brother, that anchor, I don't remember his name, for getting that lady to help. And hopefully Action News down there in Florida will do the same for that Caucasian couple. This shit's disgraceful. And you younger people my age and 50 and in your 30s, you better watch how they treat these old people, because one day you're going to be the old people. You better believe it, if we see those days, that is. And I'm out of here, guys.